So hello everyone, in this audio class we will discuss the 20 most important questions from the chapter Structure and Physiography of India. These questions will be very much important for your upcoming KVS, NVS, PGT Geography interview. So let's get started with the question number 1. Can you explain the major geological divisions of India? So, India has three major geological divisions: the Peninsular Block, the Himalayan and other peninsular mountains, and the Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra Plain. These divisions explain India's relief, drainage and physiography. For example, Chotanagpur Plateau, Himalayas and Ganga Plain. Next question, why is Peninsular Block considered the oldest landmass of India? So, it is composed mainly of Archean granite and gneiss and has remained a stable block since the Cambrian period. For example, Aravalli Range and Deccan Plateau. Next question, if it is stable, how were the Narmada and Tapi valleys formed? So these valleys were formed due to block faulting, creating rift valleys without affecting the overall stability of the peninsular block. For example, Narmada Rift Valley between Vindhyan and Satpura ranges. Next question, how is peninsular block different from Himalayas? So peninsular block is old, stable and mineral rich, whereas Himalayas are young, folded and tectonically active. For example, Deccan Plateau versus Greater Himalaya. Next question, why are the Himalayas called young fold mountains? So they were formed by the collision of Indian plate with Eurasian plates during the tertiary period and still rising. For example, frequent earthquakes in the Himalayan region. Next question, what is the role of Tethys Sea in the Himalayan formation? So sediments deposited in the Tethys Sea were compressed and folded during plate collision to form the Himalayas. For example, marine fossils found in the Himalayas. Next question, why are Himalayas tectonically active? So the Indian plate is still moving northwards and colliding with the Eurasian plate. For example, Nepal earthquake 2015. Next question, why are the Himalayas important for India? So they act as a climatic barrier, influence the extremely sorry. So they act as a climatic barrier, influence the monsoon and are the source of perennial rivers. For example, Ganga, Yamuna and Brahmaputra. Next question, explain the Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra Plain. So it is a vast alluvial plain formed by deposition of sediments brought by the Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers. For example, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. Next question, why is northern plain called the food bowl of India? So because it has fertile alluvial soil, adequate water supply and level land suitable for intensive agriculture. For example, wheat in Punjab, rice in West Bengal. Next question, what is the Bhabar region? So it is a narrow belt along the Himalayan foothills where rivers deposit coarse pebbles and disappear underground. For example, Bhabar belt of Uttarakhand. Next question, what is the Terai region? So Terai, it is a marshy belt south of Bhabar where rivers re-emerge and support dense forest. For example, Terai region of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. Next question, differentiate between Bhangar and Khadar. So Bhangar is older alluvial found on the higher terraces, while Khadar is newer alluvium deposited annually in floodplains. For example, Khadar is more fertile than Bhangar. Next question, why is Peninsular Plateau rich in minerals? So it consists of ancient igneous and metamorphic rocks containing rich mineral deposits. For example, Chotanagpur Plateau is rich in coal and iron ore. Next question, why is Deccan Plateau known as a lava plateau? So because it was formed by extensive volcanic eruptions and basaltic lava flows. For example, Deccan Traps of Maharashtra. Next question, why is western coastal plain narrow? Because the western Ghats run parallel and close to the Arabian coast. For example, Konkan coast. Next question, why is the eastern coast plain broader? So because east flowing rivers deposit large quantities of alluvium forming extensive deltas. For example, Godavari and Mahanadi deltas. Next question, why do east flowing rivers form deltas where west flowing rivers form estuaries? So east flowing rivers carry more sediments and flow over gentle slopes, while west flowing rivers are short and flow through steep gradients. For example, Ganga Delta and Narmada estuary. Next question, differentiate between the Andaman and Nicobar Island and Lakshadweep Island group. So So Andaman and Nicobar Island are mainly tectonic island, whereas Lakshadweep Islands and Coral Island, for example, Barren Island in India, only active volcano. Next question, and this is the last question for today. Why is physiographic diversity important for India? So it influences climate, agriculture, drainage, biodiversity, transport and economic development. For example, Himalayas support hydropower, northern plains support agriculture and the Peninsular Plateau supports mining. So thanks for listening. Keep listening for further audio classes. Thank you.